Hello everyone, this is Kathy from the Daily Marker. How are you today? I'm here for a blog hop for Hero Arts, my monthly hero kit. They have this fabulous kit this month, every month. And what I'm doing is I cut out the oval. There's two large dies in this. I cut out the oval and then I placed this die, the woodland scene, on top of the oval, and I'm popping out the pierced with a paper piercer. So I'm going around. If it's slightly askew, you can trim that off. I have two pieces of foam glued together, and then you can see the foam. It's kind of a vanilla color, and then I'm going to put a piece of cardstock on top of that just because I wanted to. I like to press that down and give the glossy accents time to adhere onto the foam. And I'm going to trim this down again. I'll have two layers of foam and then cardstock on top of that. And then I'm going to put the acetate on top, and then I'm going to glue this on top. How about that? I could have skipped the extra step of cutting two pieces out of cardstock, but I just wanted my base to be finished, and then I could experiment with this and see if I like it, and just that's how I do things. I kind of do things backwards a little bit. So I've gone ahead and put a gray color on this oval die. There's trees and branches and leaves and a little birdie on a branch. So I thought I'd make like some birch trees. They're very beige, creamy white with gray accents. So I'm taking just a few gray markers that I have. I wanted to add some dark, and then I'll soften this with a lighter color. And I'm just going to jump around and speed things up and stuff because this video is a little longer than normal for me. Now I'm taking my medium gray. It can be warm gray, cool gray, whatever you have, whatever tickles your fancy. And I'm just softening that dark gray line there with my medium gray color, and I'm just working my way around. These are all the birch trees, and then I'll color the branches and the leaves and stuff like that. Now I'm using my lightest color, and I'm going to just define those branches, fill them in so I know exactly where they are, and give them color. So I'm just coloring on top of all the gray lines that I did. It'll soften those lines as well, and I'm just moving around the die. Super easy. This is actually a very easy shaker card and super fun. I should have stamped a sentiment on the inside, but I thought I would just use it as a blank card because it's always nice to have a blank card on hand. Now I'm moving around and I'm just putting a layer of gray on the branches and everything. The smaller branches, I'll go back and put a beige and brown on the smaller branches as well. But I wanted them to be kind of gray, beige, brown, just a couple different things of colors to add a little depth. Now I went around with probably BOO, and now I'm using a darker blue here, and I'll just be blending that out. I just wanted the frame to be a different color. I thought it looked pretty cool if it was monochromatic, but then I ended up just pulling some blue, kind of for sky or whatever. I saw a few sneak peeks of this on Instagram, and it just makes me go, oh my gosh, no one's gonna like mine. And then I think of the advice I always give people: don't compare yourself to anyone else. I'm constantly telling myself that. There's just so much creativity out there in Blogland and Instagram and everything. And in my coloring challenge, so much talent. Okay, so I'm taking my gray and I'm just darkening those branches, just adding another layer of color, working my way around. You can see the edge of my glasses there. So this, I'm alternating between kind of a cool gray and a warm gray. The warm is like a W4, but again, it doesn't matter. You could even do brown, like a dark brown. You could really mix it up. It'd also be kind of cool to do the trees in like a purple and the leaves in like green or a red, just something kind of cool. Now around the edge, there's kind of like a scallop, embossed scallop around the oval. So I'm highlighting that with this darker blue. I'm not worrying about where it goes or anything, but when you look at the card in person, it's a neat look. So I'm taking my lighter color and just softening that darker blue line. The colors are just kind of melting together, and I'm continuing around this oval. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I come up with super cool ideas, and then sometimes I forget them. I thought it'd be kind of neat to cut this oval in half and make it a circle for like a square card, just for something different. But I didn't have time to experiment with that. And there's so many things you can do with these fairies. It's just such a super fun kit. Every kit from Hero Arts, the My Monthly kits, once they're sold, and they're always just so interesting, always so different from the other, and always such a great value. Okay, now I'm adding like a dark green to the leaves. I'm not doing any shading on these. They're small and you would just miss it. So just a dark green on these leaves, and then towards the end I'm going to take, I think I always just futz around later when I leave the room and turn off my camera. I used a super fine Sharpie and traced the leaves just for a little definition. And I put a little eye on the bird. But yeah, you really don't notice it. I just like to futz around though. Now I'm taking that brown and I'm just highlighting on the edges. So if you just butt your tip up against, bump it up against the die, it'll just kind of suck in some of that ink on the edge and just give it a highlight. And that's what I did with the smaller branches. Now I want to draw some hills, so I'm using this die as a guide. I'm drawing like two grassy knolls, more like dirt knolls, and then some grass on top. So I'm just laying this out, figuring out where I want everything to go, and I'm using that die as a guide. Now I just want to add some distress ink to the background. You might notice there's some yellow in the middle. There's these little like fairy dust. So I stamped those in some yellow distress ink, and I put a little dot of white gel pen in the center of that yellow, and I'm just super speeding this up and moving my distress tool around the paper. I usually like to do two colors. Use whatever blue you have. I think I used Smoky Sky, and now I'm using, this is when I'm editing my videos, it's very small, so you can see it, I can't, so I don't even need to say. And so, excuse me, now I'm going to go ahead and work on these hills here. And I'm just putting down a base layer of color. I kind of like crooked stamped that mushroom, but things aren't perfect in nature anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it. Sometimes you just have to go with it. So this brown that I just grabbed was a little too light, so I'm bringing in some dark gray and some medium gray. I'm just plucking colors. I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I'm not testing them because these are rocks or dirt. You know what? I colored them as rocks, so they're rocks. And rocks have so many different characteristics to them, it really doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm just throwing on color. Don't think about it, just do it. Speaking of just do it, raise your hand if you're into the Olympics. I'm so excited. The opening games are this Friday in the United States, and I'm having a few people over to watch. I told them you have to show up on time and you can't leave until it's over. So you're like my hostage. There's no talking. And that's how it goes if you want to watch the opening games at my house. So back to my coloring, I just added a dark brown there and some gray to mush it around, whatever. Now I'm adding some of that dark brown, just kind of like for some striations in the rock. And I'm taking my trusty Various ink here, and I actually have a new rag. Can you believe it? My other rag I had for years and years. And I don't know if you've tried this, but it works fabulous. And you just blot it on those rocks, and it gives you so much texture. And then it also makes them a little fuzzy. Look at the top there. That looks super cool. You can dry it with a heat gun if you kind of like want to freeze it. Now I'm just taking any old dark green and just making some grass, just flicking the tip up to make some grass, and then I'm bringing it down like kind of like there's some moss on the rock. Now when I did my shaker, I put a little too much shakery stuff inside. I just got a little carried away, so you don't even see all of this coloring. But I'm not a big shaker card maker, so you can learn from me. Less is more. Either that or just don't spend so much time coloring. Not that it took a long time. Now I'm just using a pink and a red to blend out the little toadstool here. And I'm decided to color the other ones just the same color pattern. They're here, they're available. I don't need to think so much about it here. And they're going to be covered up a lot by the sequence mix. So here I'm ready to, these are some pretty pink posh, just iridescent little mini sequins. And then I have Lucy's little things, her sequence mix. I'm putting some glossy accents on the back of the foam here, and I'll adhere it on top of my card base. Now it's time to color up this sweet little fairy, and I die cut it, and I just decided I did not want, I'm doing some basic coloring here, so I'm just gonna blab. I'm just using like a darker color and a lighter color and blending them out. So I decided to, since it was die cut, it was really pretty easy just to follow that and cut it out to the edge, because the white rim just took away from the front of my card. So I just took some scissors and cut it out. Excuse me. And then I took my Memento marker and went around the edges so you don't see any white edges. Now for a little petal, flower petal skirt, I'm using 3 pinks, RB10, and whatever 2 reds you have. And I'm just kind of letting the markers do the work. I'm not doing a lot of feathering or anything. What is that, R85? You can use, honestly, purple, green. I can't wait to color more of these fairies. We were away this weekend and I took some with me to color, but I didn't get a chance to, and I'm just itching to do it. So I like to mix like blue and green for the wings. I'll be adding some glitter to the wings and to her dress. And I'm just using a few colors on her hair, nothing fancy. There's like lines for highlight, so it's very easy to color the hair. I always like to use a darker color on the crown. You know, like when your roots are growing out, it's usually darker. And then I'm just blending that out with a lighter color. Now here's my Memento marker. This is how I go around the edges. I did that. It gives you a really clean, finished look. Now I'm putting some pop dots or foam tape on the back, and she's going to be popped on top of the acetate layer. Sorry, I missed that somehow, filming that acetate layer. Now I cut another oval. I cut a bottom flat so that my oval wouldn't tip, and then scored a line on the top for my card back. And this is what it looks like up close. That's that shaker mix, and there she is. There's definitely room for a sentiment, but I just wanted to leave it simple, clean. So thank you so much for watching. I'll link everything in the supplies, and I have had giveaways for the past couple days. You might want to check out my blog, thedailymarker.com. And thanks again. Thumbs up if you like this. Alrighty.